Hey everyone, Christina Whiteley here, Realtor with Fabulous Homes Colorado, powered by Keller Williams Freedom.
And I'm Phil Wynkoop with Caliber Home Loans.
And Rebecca Texera with Fabulous Homes Colorado, powered by Keller Williams Freedom.
And this is Fabulous Neighbors of Colorado, where we feature local businesses and entrepreneurs.
And today we are with John Smith. We're at his insurance office. He's a farmer's agent. And we'll hop right onto it, get right into it rather. Why farmers?
It's a great question. You know, Farmers is a very respected insurance company. They've been around over 100 years. They're an A-rated company. Most recently in 2018, we received incredible marks through J.D. Powers and Associates for our claim services that we offer our clients. And really, claims is what really separates, I feel, our company from other local insurance agents or local insurance companies that we compete with. I think in the end, ultimately, the client wants to be taken care of at time of loss. And one thing about Farmers is that we may not be the least expensive company, but we do pay our claims and we pay them on time. So it's one of the reasons why.
That's very important. Yes. So I don't know if anybody's heard, but sometimes we get hit with hail out here. Just a little. So there is such a thing as hail season. We've all heard it. So when is hail season, and what do I do now that I just got pummeled with all this?
It's a great question. Hail typically, the season is mid-March, so March 15th to typically October 15th is what we've seen. And unfortunately, the losses, it is a very big season. And the losses that we generally have seen has been typically through the summer, whether it's June, July, or August. But regardless, that does not exclude that it could very well happen as early in March or as late as October. But handling a hailstorm or potential hail claim can be very tricky. And the reason why I say that is that a recommendation from my agency is that that you do contact your insurance agent. And the reason for that is it's very easy to go ahead and think that you may have sustained damage, and by turning a claim in, the risk is that if the adjuster comes to your home and finds that there hasn't been any damage or very little damage, that claim still shows up on the client's claim record, which does affect their insurance score. So the recommendation that I have for anyone that's potentially been damaged by hail is call your insurance agent, work closely with a referred roofing company or disaster relief company, have them come out to your home, have them make sure first there is substantial enough damage, because a qualified roofer will typically have worked closely with many insurance adjusters and know what that adjuster is looking for. And so by taking that first step, what you're able to do is you're able to go ahead and not actually turn a claim in first. You're able to go ahead and see if there's enough damage. And then with your trusted roofer, when the adjuster does come out after the claim's been turned in, then you're able to go ahead and make sure that the roofer is pointing out all the areas of damage that's happened. And so that's a recommendation I have.
Makes sense. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I didn't know about that either. You got to protect your insurance score almost like a credit score.
You do.
Those hard pulls or claims.
Exactly. The zero claim can show up, and again, not only affecting the score in terms of what you're paying for the insurance, but whether or not that they'll actually, it'll be fully underwritten and allowed to be insured. So if you go to move companies and you see a lot of small claims, typically, unfortunately, sometimes they can choose to not offer insurance to you. And so even with a zero claim paid out. So that's where we want to protect the client. I think the most important thing is that a good relationship with your insurance agent will allow you to make sure they're looking out for your best interest, which is ultimately...
You'll coach people through that, how to do it.
Absolutely.
With protecting their insurance score.
Absolutely. That's the main focus first, is how do we make sure there's enough damage to go ahead and actually warrant putting the claim in. Because if there isn't, with the roofer that's out there, there might be some small cost to go ahead and replace, a few shingles or some areas of the roof that can be easily fixed that, again, didn't warrant setting up a claim and having the adjuster come to the home. So.
Yes.
So I've heard something about ACV. Can you tell me about that?
It's a big deal in the insurance space, because a lot of clients that have looked to reduce their insurance costs have have added actual cash value as a settlement. So keep in mind that an insurance company will basically offer two forms of settlement. They'll offer ACV, or actual cash value, or they'll offer replacement cost. And replacement cost is the preferred recommended claim settlement option, because in the end the client will go through the claims process pretty effortlessly and not feel like they have to fight with the insurance company on damage that they feel that should be covered by their insurance policy. So very quickly, actual cash value, what it is in the settlement process is it's a way of basically depreciating the item on, so say for example a roof was damaged in a hailstorm and that roof had actual cash value. They would take the age of the roof and depreciate the age of it, basically saying to the insurance company that, or to the client that you have a 20-year roof and now you've had a hailstorm. Well, that roof was already 20 years old, and because it was 20 years old, we shouldn't be paying for a new roof replacing a 20-year roof. So in the end, the settlement typically is much less. In addition, you also have to pay your deductible. So in the end, you may get very, very little, dollars back from the insurance company, and you're going to have to supplement that on your end to replace your roof. So again, replacement cost is very easy. If it's damaged, regardless of the age of the roof, the insurance company will replace it less your deductible.
So
Very
replacement
simple.
is the way to go.
Hands down.
Yes,
Hands down.
always make sure that there's replacement.
And I say this with great sincerity, that if your goal is to save money on your insurance policy, work closely with your insurance agent to make sure that you're not compromising on some of these important areas of coverage, because in the end, that's what you're really paying for, is to make sure that your claim goes successfully.
Makes
So-
sense.
Okay.
And on that note, what if somebody finds that they have an ACV element in their policy, or they just want to change it? Bless you. Is he about to sneeze?
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, thank you for the blessing.
I thought you were.
No.
But what if they want to switch carriers, and how does that process work?
So if you want to shop the market, if you will, and kind of see what is out there and what's, I recommend that you be transparent with the new agent that you're looking at. And if, for example, it gives me as an insurance agent, so if I was working, if we were working together and you were showing me your current policy, I could point out areas that I'm concerned about that you may have or may not have been aware of, and then in the end offer a quote that does address these areas, and we can sit down and go through it side by side so that we can make sure that we get exactly what you want on your insurance policy and avoid some of these pitfalls that could very well trip us up at claims. So I hope that answers your question. But bottom line is that if you have an insurance policy with your carrier and you're unhappy and you're in the middle of a policy, you don't have to wait till the end of the policy period to go ahead and shop. You can shop at any time. The insurers in the state of Colorado are required to give you back your unused prorated premium.
So they'll prorate it and refund.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So that money can be sent back and ultimately either put in your pocket or maybe refund your escrow to build your escrow back up for replacing your insurance. So.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And what sort of discounts are you offering to our local heroes?
Great. We Farmers highly values relationships with our local heroes. So if you are, and of course Colorado Springs has tremendous amount of military presence here, whether you're active military or retired military, as well as if you're a fireman, police. Also, we consider our local heroes as also our teachers. So our educators also are able to get a pretty substantial discount with us. It's applicable not only on your auto and your home insurance, but on the other insurance you're interested in with us. And also too in other areas, if you are accountant, engineer, these are just some of the other professions. So one of the things we will ask you at our agency is, what do you do for a living, so that we can help see if that you qualify for an additional discount with us.
Great.
Nice.
Cool. Where?
Oh, okay, I guess it's my
Edit that
turn. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, what is an HO6 policy?
Well, an HO6 policy is generally applicable to individuals that are purchasing a condo or a townhome or patio home. And the reason an HO6 policy differs from a homeowner's policy is that an HO6 policy works in conjunction with an HOA policy. So, say for example you purchase a condominium, your fellow owners that you live with, I mean basically they're part of your complex, they participate in an HOA policy. An HOA policy can be very broad, or it can be very narrow. What we've seen in more cases than not is that, and I would have to say that it's very tricky, and to even some of the insurance folks that are out there, they can easily make mistakes with regard to not having enough coverage for the client, and especially whenever it's a very narrow policy. So, say for example you own a condominium, and your HOA policy will cover the exterior, but it will not cover the interior of your unit. So in addition to having coverage for your belongings, your personal property like your sofa and your clothing and furniture, things of that nature, we would also need to make sure that we have adequate coverage for the rebuilding of the interior. So cabinetry for your kitchen to everything from your appliances to your flooring, to your wall coverings. Say for example you've decided to upgrade your unit and do some unique things like put in some unique wallpaper or some sort of unique wall coverings. Those are things that in many cases an HOA policy will cover, and that's important to be on an HO6 policy.
Okay.
Another thing that I also want to make sure that I would be remiss to say about an HO6 policy is that with an HOA, we're seeing a lot of insurance companies are pushing their deductible. So say for example your complex was hit by a hailstorm. We're seeing that many HOA boards are pushing the deductible out evenly to the clients or to all of their homeowners, and that can be a really, really costly bill. For example, it's not uncommon that many of our clients that have come to us we've seen bills in thousands of dollars. One very important coverage to have is loss assessment coverage, and loss assessment coverage on your HO6 policy will basically allow you to go ahead, turn that claim into your insurance company under a loss assessment claim. And most carriers, some may have a deductible, but we do not for a loss assessment. Can typically, we can cover that entire balance of what your portion of the deductible was for the HOA. So it's a very tricky policy. There's a lot of intricacies about it, and if you're not, if you want a good insurance agent that can be able to go ahead and explain to you, listen, there's components here that are really important to have, and sometimes I've had clients that come to me that did not have any sort of loss assessment, and it was an eye-opening experience for the person to realize that, hey, if I do get a portion of my claim, a portion of a deductible from a loss to my HOA, then I could be responsible for that, and I may have to pay that out. So we were able to help some clients in that area.
So if we understand that correctly, if one of Colorado Springs' infamous hailstorms comes through on a complex, the HOA could have a $20,000 deductible, and
Right.
if there's like 200 units, everybody
Yes.
has to pay up $1,000.
Yes.
And
Or
loss
more.
assessment coverage will help.
We'll cover that. We'll cover that. Yeah.
So you don't get. Wow, it's
So
important to know.
that is
Yes.
important.
Yeah.
It's a great coverage to have, and again, it requires an insurance agent to ask more detailed questions, try to get the HOA policy, have a conversation with the client so that they can go ahead and point out where does this end, so that we can have your HO6 policy begin, and make sure that we're not over-insuring you, but certainly not under-insuring you, because it's so easy as people get closer to a time of closing on their condo that it gets missed, and we want to make sure we avoid that.
They could get stuck
So-
with a lazy agent who doesn't
Could-
look into their policy.
It could very well be that, and so we work really hard to make sure that our clients are happy with their coverages and make sure they understand them. And if it's something that's not as important to them, we understand that we can also adjust it as well. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, John, for educating us.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity.
That was great. I guess we'll wrap it up, right?
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
John Smith, Farmers Insurance. If you would like to contact John to go over any of your policies, information is going to be below. And outside of that, Christina?
Yeah, so if you'd like to be featured on our show, just comment below as well, and we will get that all arranged. Remember who to call for all of your fabulous real estate, lending, and insurance needs. Make it a fabulous day.